Hi everyone, welcome to the Honeybee Knits podcast channel. My name's Melissa and I am coming to you from Springboro, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati. This is where I live with my husband, our dog, and 2 cats. That is my intro. Today is Saturday, March 29th, I think. And it is a very rainy day. It's very spring-like out and I have loved the weather. It's been a little bit chilly this week, but I'm hoping it warms up next week. But yeah, it's been a great couple of weeks. I've made so much progress personally, with the shop, with knitting. It doesn't seem like I made a lot of progress with knitting because I have 0 knitting FOs. But I have gotten a lot done over the past couple weeks and we've been working on the house a little bit too. For those, also wanted to say welcome to all returning viewers and hello to any new viewers. I hope you enjoy this podcast. This one, I think, if I can keep the chit chat to a minimum, will be a bit shorter than usual because I just don't have that many knitting items to show. But I do have some spinning and some sewing, so I'm excited to share all of that with you guys today. But if you have been with me for a while, you know that we started painting our house in October of 2017 in preparation for some new living room and family room furniture. They're 2 separate rooms. I call it my library. That's the... because I have 2 bookshelves filled with books and that's where I do all my reading. But the library and the living room got new furniture in November or December of, maybe it was January, I can't remember, of 2017, 2018. And then we just stopped. Like, we didn't even finish those rooms. We started them. We didn't do the paint on the ceiling or the trim. We just basically stopped. Well, this past week, Jason's been very motivated to get some stuff done because it's spring and we just have had this cloud hanging over our head for a year knowing that we have to do all of this painting, and so we decided to just tackle it. And so he finished the trim and the ceiling, so I now have a finished bathroom, a finished hallway, a finished library, and a finished family room. And tomorrow he is going to begin work on our morning room, kitchen, and laundry room. So when those 3 rooms are done, then the downstairs is completely done, and then we're going to work our way up here, which means all of these shelves will get cleared off and moved. That wall will get painted, and then all the shelves will come back and be filled back up again. You may notice these tubs. It's still a bit disorganized, but it's way more organized than it was before. I went through my shelves and did a huge destash. In fact, I still have some on Instagram, and I will be lowering the prices tomorrow by a few dollars. So make sure that if you're interested in destash yarn, you go check it out. Some of the yarn has already been lowered so far as like $18, $19 a skein. So, and it's really nice indie dyed stuff. So, if you're interested in that, make sure you check out my Instagram page. But yeah, I went through and I grouped together all of the planned projects that I had. And I'm left with these 2 totes right here. That is yarn that doesn't have any plans. And then this one up here is yarn that's going to be socks. This one is all the stuff I purchased in Rhinebeck that I want to finish this year. Everything else on this side is all planned projects. Some of it only has 2 or 3 skeins per tote. And then over here, that hasn't changed much. That's all sweater quantities all the way up to the top there. And then anything that's not in a tote that you see is all self-striping yarn. And then down here is fiber, and then down in this corner over here I have a lot of knit picks type stuff. So I still have, and then here's my hand spun right here, which that's gonna need a second shelf soon. But I'm doing it once a month. I'm just spending time going through my shelves because it is very stressful, because it's just a lot. It's a lot of stuff, and I have I've talked about this before, I have an emotional attachment to yarn for some reason, and I know when I felt silly saying it out loud in that podcast, but a few of you commented and said you feel the same way, so I don't feel so alone now, so thank you for that. So it is difficult to go through the yarn and decide what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to get rid of, because I honestly love everything. I love it all and I want to keep it all, but there has to be a realistic expectation. And then with my business the way it is, I need to make sure I'm making time to knit with my own yarn. So yeah. After the podcast a couple weeks ago, that's what I did. I went through my shelves, organized, got rid of some stuff. It looks like the sun's coming out a little bit, which is weird because it's raining. But speaking of feeling alone, I just want to say a quick thank you to anybody that reached out to me, whether it was in the YouTube comments or Instagram messages or Etsy messages, whatever the case may be, in support of my video last week. It was a video that I had been wanting to make for a really long time, and I know I touched on those subjects here and there, but it's something that every time I started to try to record it, I deleted it, or, you know, because you just get self-conscious sometimes talking about mental health, and I actually had a few people reach out to me and tell me that, they just found my podcast and that was their first episode, and that they also struggle with an eating disorder and have for years. So I love that I'm able to connect with you guys a little more by just being open and honest about everything. And obviously I'm not going to get into details about how it started or why it started, or, you know, that's not what I'm here to do, because all of that's in the past. But I do want to show and share my progress, because I just want to help other people, and it's helpful for me to get to kind of form that little support group. So I appreciate everybody's comments and comments and feedback, and it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep talking about. So that's a lot of chit chat for the beginning. I do have some more stuff related to all of that I will talk about in the end, about how the last 2 weeks have been for me, and some of the things that I have been working on personally. But first, I want to talk about knitting, because I have some really amazing projects over here that I want to share with you guys, and I'm excited to share. I have actually, real quick before we get into the rest, I've been a bit sick the past week or so. I've had some stomach issues, which made it difficult to eat pretty much anything. So I'm going to spare you all the details, but I've been staying away from caffeine and sugar, but today I needed this. And honestly, my breakfast used to be 340 calories, and I didn't realize that because I thought it was healthy. It was just a coffee and a granola bar. And then when I added up all the calories for those two things, I was like, oh wow, that's a lot of calories for breakfast. So what I do now is I make little egg quiches. They're just like one egg with a little bit of cheese or tomatoes or spinach or peppers in them, and you bake them, and then I make a batch of them each week and eat them throughout the week, and they're 100 calories. And then my coffee, I realized between the sugar and the cream that I was adding to my regular coffee, it was more calories than one of these. So this is what I've switched to, because these are 140 calories. So my breakfast is now 240 calories, which I do plan on switching to like a protein shake or something instead eventually, but baby steps. So this is what I'm drinking now as far as coffee goes. And I don't have any technically knitting FOs this week. I do have 3 whips, and 2 of those are really close to being finished, but I do want to share, I have a spinning FO and I have a knitting square that you guys have not seen but heard me talk about. So a few weeks ago, it's been, I don't know, I think it was like the first, second, third week of January, I decided that I wanted to make a mitered square blanket that I could all out of Honeybee Knits colorways. And that way I could photograph each square and put them up in the shop alongside the skein of yarn, so you guys can see how it would potentially knit up and make it easier for you guys when you are purchasing. And also I get kind of a cozy memories blanket filled with my yarn that I've dyed. But I didn't want to start another mitered square blanket like the one I have, because I put a lot of work into that, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of squares, and I'm not gonna make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of colorways, at least not in the next 10 years. But I also wanted something that had kind of a color break with a neutral color around each square so that it was easier to photograph. And as I was searching for that perfect pattern, I came across the stained glass blanket, and I do not remember who it is by, but I do know it's called the stained glass blanket. And if you follow me on Instagram, every once in a while I will mention who the maker is, and if you want to know specifically what it is, please let me know, and I will make sure that next time I have that name for you, or I'll try to pop it in the show notes or something, because I don't do show notes. I'm really bad. But anyway, so I finished one square, and I decided, instead of dragging it up here and showing you each colorway that I put in, I do work on it one time a week, but instead of doing that, I want to just show you as I finish one square. So my first square is done, and here it is. And I am so incredibly thrilled with how this turned out. It is so beautiful, and I cannot wait to make my second square. So I am going to go through these colorways, most of which are available in the shop, but if not, they were a club colorway that I still wanted to include in here, and I will let you know which one those are as we go along. So this red right here is Ruby Slipper. This one is Panning for Gold. This one is Love Story, and it was the February holiday sock set skein. This one is The Lady in the Bottle. This one is this Graffiti or Lucky Star? This one is Lucky Star, and my Lucky Stars are non-repeatable, so I always have some version of this, but it may not be this teal blue color. These ones, I think I'm sold out of those now. I think I have a skein on mohair, but in the shop, but I think that's it. But this is Lucky Star, and I love it. And just because of the way this is dyed, I can never guarantee that each skein looks different. No two skeins are the same. You could definitely make a sweater out of it, but you would definitely need to alternate the skeins. This one is Bracebridge Dinner / Deck the Halls. So it depends on where you purchase this one. So this was originally my Gilmore Girls inspired Christmas colorway called Bracebridge Dinner, which is one of their Christmas episodes. But when I sold this to the shop, when I did my wholesale order with Fiberworks in Beaver Creek, Ohio, they did not like the colorway name because they didn't get the reference, and it is a Christmas colorway, so they said it would sell better with a different name. So I did change this to Deck the Halls, and I've also called this my Happy Holidays 2018 colorway. So each year I'm going to pick one of my holiday colorways, and it'll be my Happy Holidays 2018, 2019, whatever. And this one is the Genie in the Bottle. No, the Genie in the Master, sorry. And this does knit up more micro striping when you are knitting socks with it, and it looks really cool. Is that the Genie in the Bottle? Yeah. Genie in the Master. It looks really cool when you're knitting it up micro striping, but because this is a rectangle, it did not knit up micro striping. This one is my Fight Club colorway, which was my January yarn of the month. This one is Stormy Skies? I think so. Stormy Skies, yeah. Because I have Flagstone, which is the lighter one. So this is Stormy Skies. This one is in the navy, And then this one is Major Nelson, which is a very popular colorway. But yeah, so I did not plan out these colors. I randomly chose them because I want the blanket to be completely random. So I will try to, I love this new phone because it has autofocus on it. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the first square turned out. And I'm just using, this is all on my Queen Bee base, which is my 80/20 2-ply. And I'm just using my undyed natural for the in-between sections because I knew I was going to have gray squares. So I didn't want to use dyed yarn in between and then the grays match because, yeah. But anyway, I'm really happy with this. So I will, next time I have a photography session, which I just got some amazing pointers from a new viewer of the podcast. And I am so appreciative of them because I have been struggling so much with getting photographs. And she had said, before you hire a professional, try these things. So, I'm going to try them out. And if they work, I'll be more than happy to share what techniques I used. But basically I'm just trying to make it so that my colorways are, more closer to reality than they are when I take a photograph. When we're sitting here like this, these are showing up like spot on in video, but I can't capture that in a photograph. So I'm going to work on that, hopefully in the next couple weeks. So switching gears real quick, I have a spinning FO, and this is my Night Rainbow colorway from Loop that I purchased when I was in Rhinebeck. All skeined up, and it will be self-striping. But guys, I love, there's some watermelon colors in there, some Halloween-y colors. This is just super retro, and this reminds me of like the 90s racing games that we used to have. But I love this so much. I'm so thrilled with how it turned out. I once again forgot to get the yardage of it, but I know that this is a sport weight yarn, and it's 140 grams. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to have about 300 yards, but maybe 250, because it is a smaller skein. But yeah, I am so thrilled with how this turned out, and that of course is my favorite section, but I love this green and pinky watermelon-y section too. Yeah, I really am happy with how this turned out. My next, just to show you what I'm going to be spinning up next, this is my second bat that I purchased from Loop in Rhinebeck, which I've already decided. I'm not sure if they're going to be at Maryland Sheep and Wool, but if they are, I'm probably going to buy another 4 of these because I enjoyed spinning this up so much. The fiber prep is so amazing. They're just a center pull from the center. And this is the next one. And I lost the tag for this one, so I can't remember what this one's called. I think it's called Neon Rainbow. So I had Night Rainbow and Neon Rainbow, and yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And of course, both of them have a little bit of sparkle in there. There is the Selena in that one. And let me show you, because I did not point that out when I showed the full skein. So I'm gonna set this over here because that's going to be going back downstairs with me to spin up on Tuesday. But this also has a bit of Selena in there. It's very subtle, but there are some little pops in there every once in a while. You kind of get glimpses of it. So this, yeah, I'm excited about that. So that is it for my FOs, but I do have some whips, and I made quite a bit of progress on my whips. So I don't remember if I talked about this or not. I know I talked about how I have a certain day of the week set aside for particular projects or crafts. So as I go through the whips, I'll tell you what days I do this. And I'm going to start with Sunday because I already showed you my finished object for Sunday. So Sundays are scrappy Sundays. I put 2 squares on my Cozy Memories blanket. I do a square in here, and then I work on my scrappy Advent shawls that I started in December. I'm currently working on my active Advent shawl is my Winter Wonderland of Minis wrap by Laura Brady from Knit for Brains using the Teeny Button Studio yarn. I have not worked on that in the past 2 weeks because, as I said, we've been doing stuff around the house and I have not been feeling well last week, so I think I slept a lot last Sunday. So I did not bring that up to show because I didn't get any progress on it. That being said, I have every intention in the world to work on it tomorrow and next Sunday, so that next podcast I will show that and hopefully have some progress. I am just over halfway. I think I am officially on section 13. So I think I finished half the shawl and I'm working my way towards the end now, which I'm excited about. And somebody asked me if I've opened up my advent calendars that I haven't finished projects with, and I have not. So Suburban Stitcher and Teeny Button Studios, I have not seen the last of their minis because I have been avoiding spoilers, and it's like I'm continuing my advent throughout the year, and it's kind of cool. So yeah, and then when I finish with my Teeny Button Advent, I will move on to my Suburban Stitcher, which is my Just the Snow wrap. So that is it for Scrappy Sunday, which leads us to Monday. And Monday's project is housed in my new-ish teeny Casey bag. You guys saw this last week last episode as an acquisition, and I showed you the project that I was going to be casting on for my final review. So this is the Tally Ho blanket by, it doesn't say who by, I'm going to say Appalachian Baby Design, which is also the name of the yarn. Here's the thing that I don't care for about big name brands, and I'm not saying they're a big name brand, and this isn't a review of the company, but when you have a pattern attached to a specific yarn, like a kit, a lot of times they don't tell you who the designer is, and that makes me mad because I'm telling you, Appalachian Baby Design did not create this blanket. Some person behind this created this for them. I don't know. I guess maybe they did. Maybe the owner designed it themselves. But anyway, it's a beautiful blanket. I just wish I knew the name of the person that actually made it, designed it. And it's actually very interesting construction. But I had 2 skeins of this, which is 100% US organic cotton, and the indigo colorway, and then this, which is the what is this colorway? That's sport weight. I don't think this one has a colorway on it. Baby blue. So those are the 2 colorways they sent me. I did request pink, but that's okay. And you actually knit them in 2 sections. So this is the first section. So it's this big long rectangle. Stockinette stitch hell is what I refer to this as, because it's just stockinette stitch. Knit, purl, knit, purl. And then you put the last stitch on a marker. Not sure why you put the last stitch on a marker, but you do. Because I think I'm going to connect them in the middle using that stitch. So this is the first one that I finished. I did a lot of knitting on this last week. Not so much this week, but I really wanted it finished for the podcast, but I just didn't get to it. And then you have your second rectangle, which is the baby blue, for a while, and then you start striping in the indigo. So here's that. So I've got to repeat this, I think 5 times, I don't know, 9 row repeats of striping, 5 or 6 times, something like that. And then I'll be ready to attach them together with a crochet hook. Not sure what I'm going to be doing. I try not to read ahead in patterns, but I am using these wooden needles from my 2 ladies knitting, and here they are. Okay, so I know you guys have been waiting on a needle review for these, and I think I've knit enough with them now to be able to honestly review them. So I love the concept, first of all. I think it's a great concept, and I think had I liked, I already said that my review was going to be a bit biased because I'm not a fan of wood needles. However, these wood needles I like them enough. I don't like them as much as my metal needles, and I will stick with metal needles. But if you're a fan of wood needles, these are nice for wood needles. They're very, very, I mean, they almost feel like they're not even wood. They almost feel like they're definitely wood, but they're light enough and they're smooth enough. You won't get any snags. I've had no problems with the joins. The joins are amazing. The problem that I have had with these is this cable, because it gets tangled around the project. It gets tangled around the yarn. And I think had I been knitting a blanket that took up the entire cable, that I would have had that problem, because I would have had weight on this to stretch it out. But because I don't, what happens is when I pull this up, this curls badly. And so it was tangling around each other, tangling around the project, tangling around the yarn, and that did get quite frustrating. So I think if maybe in the future they come out with shorter cable lengths for smaller projects, then this would have been perfect for the baby blanket. But I think otherwise you would definitely want a project that's heavy enough and fills up all of this cable to keep it straight and out of the way, because otherwise it's going to get tangled. So that is my review on them. I think I love the concept. The wood needles are nice for them being wood needles. I'm not a fan of wood needles, but I like these ones. So if you are working on a larger project and you think that these these interest you, I would highly recommend them. I just wouldn't recommend them for those smaller projects for those reasons I said. So that is that with, so I work on that on Mondays, and then Tuesdays I spin. I already showed you my spinning. Wednesdays I do diamond painting, which I have about 3 weeks left on my current canvas, and when that canvas is finished, I will bring it up. I'm not gonna transport it back and forth because I don't want beads to fall off, and I don't want it to get wrinkled or folded or anything. So I am waiting until I finish it, and then when it's finished I will show it to you guys. I didn't show the last canvas I finished because it had been sitting on my shelf for a long time and the beads were not sticking, and I honestly will probably end up getting rid of those canvases because I did not treat them very well. And it was a great learning experience because I now know that I have to keep it flat the whole time, and I know that I need to purchase a frame almost as soon as I finish it. But the canvases that I had previously done are pretty much trash because I kept them rolled up, and that is not good for them. So do not do that if you are diamond painting. And then Thursdays are Whip It Thursdays, and I had a good laugh with the people on VKN because, which I wanted to go to last night, but my dad was here until like 10 o'clock. But I had a good laugh on VKN because some of the ladies said that when they watched my podcast and they saw me pick out the shawl and I said I was going to knit it and not put it back, they were yelling at their TVs to tell me to pick a new one, a new project. But that being said, it doesn't look like much because it's lace, but I have done a ton of work on this over the past couple weeks. I finished another chart, and I'm going to have to figure out how to show this. But I think last time you saw it, I had added 1 row of bead, or maybe I hadn't even gotten to the beading yet, but I did start and finish chart 3. There's 7 charts. And so it's this section right here. It's going to be really difficult to see, but it's like this oval, but it also has like these mountains. This is so difficult, incredibly difficult to show on here, but I will make sure that when it's done to get some, there we go. It's not too bad. I have only done, I think, 3 total rows of beading so far. I have the one up here, and then I have 2 rows right here of beading. They're stacked on top of each other. You see them. But I'm ready to start chart 4. I think I will finish chart 4 next week, and then I think I will get at least halfway through chart 5 before I podcast next. So like I said, there's 7 charts, so this is actually really close to being I think this will be about halfway done next time you see it. This is definitely a shawl that looks so tiny. This is gonna stretch like crazy when I block it. I mean, yeah, it looks like nothing, but it's like really double in size. It's one of those that is wider than it is longer, because it has a picot edging at the end, a beaded picot edging that's going to make it look drapier and longer than what it is. And of course, blocking will open up some of these stitches. But yeah, I'm super happy with how it's turning out so far. The yarn I'm using is Spell by Hedgehog Fibers in the merino lace base. It's really pretty, and it is 109 grams, 1200 meters per 100 grams, which I think is like, I don't know. Well, for the sake of calling it even, we'll say 1200 yards, which probably like 1,000 yards. But I'm definitely gonna have yarn left over. I need to put the pattern back in there so I don't lose it. And the beads I'm using, I'm not sure. I know they're hematite. It's made out of hematite, but they're just triangles. I got them from bellomodo.com. Apparently, you're not gonna be able to see that. Bellomodo. Yeah, wherever you find your local beads at. Local or online beads. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I need more coffee. And it's in my bag from WTF Knitting Podcast. My best friend Levi made this bag and I love it. And it's purple, and this whole project is purple, and I love it. I just love working on it, and it gives me such Halloween vibes. And then Fridays I work on, for now, okay, so Fridays are supposed to be small project Fridays, but for now I'm working on my review until it's done. And then I will be casting on a pair of socks for Jason. And essentially Fridays are going to be my gift knitting, because I have a laundry list of one skein projects that people have asked for, including socks and hats, essentially. Socks and hats. And then when I get some of those gift knits underway, I've got a hat for my dad. I've got to get a hat for his wife. I got to make a hat for Jason and his friends, socks for Jason and his friends, more socks for Jason, and more socks for Jason, because he's picked out all this yarn and I have not knit anything with it. And then once I get some of that stuff done, I do have a few one skein projects that are on my queue to work this year, including some stuff from Rhinebeck, Laura's Sunburn, I think it's Sunrise, Sunburn, Sunset Cow. I've had yarn skeined up in a project bag ready for that project for months. I would say close to 6 months. I think I put it in a bag in October. I just never got around to casting it on, and I think I even put needles in there, so it's probably some of my needles I'm missing. So Fridays are going to be dedicated to those one skein projects, and I'm hoping to have a pair of socks started for Jason by the next podcast. Also, what was I going to tell you? Oh, Mondays. Okay, so when my reviews are finished, I'm also going to make Mondays eventually. They're going to be my Rhinebeck Mondays, where I just knit projects with yarn I purchased from Rhinebeck. That being said, I want to finish my smell bin pullover, and I have a few sweaters that I want to knit as well. And so my first Monday project will be my spell bin pullover. When that's finished, I will start working through my yarn that I purchased at Rhinebeck. I'll start with my socks and shawls and get all of those done. And then I have a sweaters quantity that I purchased, and that will be my Rhinebeck sweater. So hopefully I can work through that, the spell bin pullover and a few of the socks in the spring, and then the shawls and the sweater in the summer and early fall. So that way everything, if not most of everything, is knit up before Rhinebeck next year. That being said, Maryland is like, oh my God, 4 weeks away. And I plan on buying things at Maryland, and I plan on knitting things from Maryland. So we'll see what happens. People keep asking me what my Maryland sweater is going to be. Listen, guys, I am hot-blooded. I sweat easily. So we'll say it's the spell bin pullover, but whether or not I'm actually going to be wearing any sweaters to Maryland is a different story. It'll probably be t-shirts all the way. You may even see me in a spring or summer dress if it is warm enough out, because I am the first person to wear a dress when it's hot out, so, or at least warm. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have been boycotting winter the last couple days, this last week or so. I wore a summer dress a few times. I wore shorts and a tank top a few times. Like, I'm done with the winter weather. Like, I refuse. That being said, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt today and leggings because I was chilly, but anyway, so that's my plans for Mondays and Fridays. Now, Saturdays are Sock Saturdays, which means today is Sock Saturdays. And if you'll notice, I don't have my Desert Vista Dye Works socks done. I had 2 weeks, really one full day on Saturday where I didn't get any knitting done, which was a problem because that's the only days I've been working on socks. So last week I was able to, why does that look longer? That my second sock looks longer than my, oh no. Yeah, it looks a little bit longer. Nah, it's just the way I was holding it. Anyway, so I was able to get a second sock tube done last week. This is Desert Vista Dye Works in the, I don't know if she named this colorway. Oops, there goes one of my acquisitions. Rose Champagne colorway. This is a 2018 exclusive colorway for knitting 12 pairs of socks last year, and it's on her gold Selena base. Here, I'll show it better in the skein because it's curved. See all that sparkle. Anyway, I am going to put heels in this today and hopefully get them up on Ravelry because tomorrow is the last day of the month. And I am giving Jessica a heart attack because I have been really good about getting my socks done early in the month, and this month it didn't happen, and I know she's probably freaking out. But hey, all I have are 2 heels. Those will be bing, bang, boom, done. I just threw my yarn across the floor. Done today while I'm editing this video. So the time you see this, they will be done. So I have my pair for next week to cast on picked out, and I picked out the Dia de los Muertos colorway. Oh, and when I finish my heels, I will probably have more knitting time today before Scrappy Sunday tomorrow. So I will work on that baby blanket and try to get it finished, because if I get it finished today, which probably won't be, but if I get it finished, then Monday I can start working on my Spellman pullover again. I'm this close to splitting for sleeves, guys, and I've been this close for about 3 months now, so yeah. Anyway, Sock Saturday, Dia de los Muertos. I am really bad, and I don't remember what month this is in. I think it's May. But that's not why I picked this yarn. I picked this yarn because it's got blue in it. And if you'll recall, I am having a color knit along. And the first month, this month, is blue. And so I've got one project. I So I had some blue in this, and it's not just for knitting, guys. Crochet, spinning, sewing, whatever. All those finished objects can be used. So I've got blue in here. That's 1 entry. I've got, which of course I'm not winning anything, but just examples. Blue in my baby blanket. If I finish that, that's an entry. I'm going to spin this up. This has got blue. That's an entry. This will have blue. So yeah, anything that has any kind of blue in it, you can enter into that. And I did announce in the thread that next month's color is green. And what I did is you know how you have like random number generators? I used a random color generator and it chose green. So next month we will be doing green. And so I will close the thread and draw for winners 2 weeks from today, because that will be 1 month from when I announced it. And we will switch over to green. So this is going to be my socks for April. April, right? Yeah, it's April. I got so much to get done. So yeah, so I just wanted to show you my cast on plans. That is it for knitting. Like I said, I'm going to work on my Spellman pullover on Mondays. And yeah, reviews will be done by the time I podcast next. In my next podcast, that will be an FO, and I will give my full review on that yarn and that pattern. And so I should have some progress on my Spellman pullover next time you see me, as well as start a pair of socks for Jason. So that is the goal. And I did show a pair of socks from yarn from Haberland that I bought in Rhinebeck that I want to knit up into socks, but the plan was to get my socks done and then use the rest of the Saturdays for the month to work on those socks, but obviously I didn't get my socks done. And I thought about casting them on today since it's Sock Saturday, but I think I would rather just have this review done. So I'm just going to put all my extra time into that this week, try to get it done. So what I'm doing essentially is setting aside a day per project so that I'm getting a little bit of progress here, a little bit of progress there. And if I have any extra knitting time outside of that, then I will put all my energy into one project to try to get it off the needles faster. And my goal is, I think I mentioned that I have 27 whips right now, I think. I would really, really like to end the year with only 12 whips. That includes languishing and active. So that means that I have to get, once I get done with this beaded lace shawl, there are quite a few projects that should be quick wins for me as long as I draw them out of that whip jar. So hopefully I get those, and if not, you know what, my goal might change, and maybe my goal will be to get the hard projects out. That way next year I can have active whips only, because that would be nice. I'm really trying hard not to cast on all the sweaters, because this was supposed to be the year of the sweater. And I still want it to be, but I can't, having the languishing whip stresses me out. And I know that if I frogged that yarn, I would just need to find another project for it. So it's not that I don't want to knit that project with that yarn, it's the time. I haven't set aside time to do it. And so I'm trying to set aside the time to do it this year. So that way I don't have that hanging over my head. And if a new sweater pattern comes out, I can cast it on right away guilt-free, or a new shawl pattern comes out. I want to get to the point where I'm not telling myself, I really want to knit that, but I have too many whips and they're stressing me out, so I can't knit that. I would like to get to the point that says, ooh, I love that, let me cast it on because I have the time to work on it. So that's the goal. And we're getting there. We'll get there. What else? Okay, so acquisitions, right? So I have very few acquisitions. I've been being very good, and actually my stash count, I don't know what it is because I haven't counted in years, but my stash count definitely decreased because I did a lot of destashing and not a lot of purchasing. So I only have one skein of yarn to show, and I actually ordered this months ago. I think it was in February, because I was on a VKN with Laura, crocheting Hoovian, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. And she was like, oh, look at this Luna Lovegood colorway I just got from the yarn jar. And I was like, I need that colorway right now. And so I went and I bought that colorway. But I didn't get it right now because it's I'd ordered and it took a while to get here. So I did finally get it, and here's Luna Lovegood on Sparkle, and it is so pretty. I've got Luna right here. I got this in a knitting swap a few years ago. Look at my Luna. She's so cute. I love Luna. I love Luna so much. Everybody loves Luna. So Luna Lovegood. And guys, I almost bought more of her Harry Potter colorways. I think she has an everlasting, no, Birdie Bot's Every Flavor Beans colorway. She has a couple Harry Potter colorways. I love the yarn jar. I have a lot of her yarn over here. That's what these barrels are. Right, I can't, my finger, right here. Super awkward way of doing that. Right there. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but I already collect all of the nomadic yarns, Harry Potter colorways, and I can't justify or collect anymore. So just trying to be conscientious of what I've been buying. I did purchase the two new Harry Potter colorways that Nomadic Yarns just came out with, because I have no self-control. But I did purchase those, so those should be here in a few weeks. But that's pretty much all the purchasing I've done, except for knitting supplies. So I finally found, after years, like I think it was like 1.5 to 2 years since my mom bought them for me for my birthday, my Knitter's Pride knit blockers, and I used them for the first time a few weeks ago, and I love them, and I decided I needed more. And then I found out they had rainbow ones. So I went on Amazon and I found a supplier that still had the rainbow ones, and these are actually cheaper than what I purchased the regular set from, because I think the regular set I paid, my mom bought them for me for my birthday a few years ago, and I think she paid $25 from our local yarn store. And I found these on Amazon, I think for $18 a box, which is not bad at all, because I think the regular non-rainbow ones are like, the white ones, I think they're like $20 to $25. So I got these for $18 a piece. They did take a few weeks, like a week and a half to 2 weeks to get here, because they were not from a prime supplier, but they're so pretty. Yeah, so I definitely needed more. So I purchased 2 boxes, and I'm gonna go through and reblock some few things. One of my coworkers, his wife, which they don't watch the podcast, but his wife follows me on Instagram, and we've been chatting back and forth a little bit because of all the stuff going on at work. It's been really stressful for all of us, and I was talking to his wife about it. She's been watching my Instagram stories, and she saw a post that I made about the wrap, the Joji Locatelli wrap, being available now on Ravelry, that I knit with the Jimmy Bean Wool Advent Calendar, because it was previously exclusive to Jimmy Bean Wool. But it is now on Ravelry, and I posted to let everybody know, because I had a lot of questions about that when I was knitting it. And she's like, that is absolutely stunning. And so remember when I blocked it, I had those scalloped edges. So I'm going to use these and try to block it straight, and then I think I'm going to gift it to her, because she is 100% knit worthy. But yeah, so anyway, also I bought some signatures, size 4. I already had my set of signatures that had a size 4, and I think I talked about this before, but I have 3 projects that are using them right now. And so I bought 2 extra sets, and one of those is actually on my apparition shawl. The other set is on my Winter Wonderland and Minis wrap, and then this is going to be used for my what is it called? Spellman sweater. So those are all 3 going to be active whips at the same time, and I originally was using the same pair, and I had another shawl that I just finished, that one I showed last week, that all use size 4, and I was switching needles back and forth and tips back and forth, and I even bought more cables, but it just got to the point where I said, okay, I have enough projects that use this that I am okay with investing, and I really like them. So I was okay with investing the $60 to buy 2 extra sets of 4s, and I think I will do the same thing with a few other needle tips as I come across them, because as I come across what I need, when I was looking for 4s, I couldn't find them. I went through project bags, I went through my needle stash, and I'm assuming they're probably in those millions, 27, 24 whips up there, but I just couldn't find them, and I'm tired of switching needles back and forth. And I've done it where I forget that I switch it and I just pick it up and start knitting with the one I switched it to, and sometimes it's a different size. So for example, I had my Winter Wonderland of Minis wrap on 6s, so I could use my 4s on my Spellman sweater, and I forgot that I switched my Winter Wonderland Minis to a 6, and I started knitting with it, and I knit almost an entire section, and I realized it was the wrong size and I had to rip back and start over. So I just went ahead and purchased a few more. I figure if I just buy them as I need them, it won't be as expensive as buying another full set, which I don't want. I already have a full set. I don't want a second full set. I just want extra tips of the sizes I use most. And I think out of all the needles I have, these are my favorite for sweater and shawl knitting. I did give them a little bit of a bad review I think it's been 6 months ago when I was knitting a shawl and the stitches kept getting stuck, and I found out afterwards that it was not the needles. It was the size yarn I was using with the size needles I was using, which is the fault of the designer, not the needles. Essentially, the yarn was too small, or the needle was too small. Which was it? Needle was too big for the size yarn that I was using. It was like an size 8 needle for light fingering weight yarn, and so though that yarn did not want to slide up underneath that ridge. So and to be honest, I did not like the texture of that yarn, of that project anyway. When I was done with it, I think had I knit it on a smaller needle, I would have been much happier with it, and I don't think I would have had that issue. So these are definitely my favorites. Now, if you're looking for a favorite set based on price, I've always said Chiaogu are the best. So they are the best for the money that you get. These are my favorite, but they are expensive. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. I think that is it for the knitty stuff. I guess, oh, I wanted to show you the bags I've been sewing. So I will show you the bags I've been sewing. They're not finished yet. I have to do drawstrings on them, which I'm going to work on this week, and I will slowly start putting those up into the shop probably at the end of next week. I have 10 bags, and once those are gone, they're gone. I won't have those fabrics anymore, but if there is a need, like if they sell out and people want more, then I will buy more fabrics and make more. But I think I'm going to make them smaller next time, because these are huge and they are a workout to sew. So I'll show those, and then I'll do some chit chat. Okay, so here's what I've got. Let's see if I can show these without the whole pile falling everywhere. But all right, so these first two are an inch shorter and an inch not as wide. I don't know what you would call that. Not as wide. But they're still massive. These would still make a good sweater bag. I mean, they're huge. So this is the inside fabric, some squigglies, some socks. So yeah, there's one. Again, these are not finished. They all need their drawstrings. And then the other, no two bags are alike, but each bag has a partner. So basically where the fabrics are reversed. So this one is the stripies at the bottom with the socks at the top, and then the squigglies on the inside. And the inside fabric will lay down better, and these will fold up better when I get the drawstring in, because I'll be pinning basically tacking the inside fabric down so it won't be moving around everywhere. So then I have the retro flowers with the kitties and some cosmetic like hairdryer, makeup, and hairbrush stuff inside. So I really love the aesthetic of this one. It reminds me of very 50s fabric. This one, guys, I don't want to sell this one. I kind of want to keep it. Rainbow with the sheepies and then the raindrops on the inside. Oh my gosh, I love this one so much. But alas, I don't need any more project bags. I will probably put it up for sale, but if it doesn't sell, it's definitely mine. I've got flowers with the wolves, and then just plain pink interior. I really like this one too. I like these all. I think they all coordinate really well, and they are huge. And then this is the opposite of that one. It is the wolves with the flowers at the top, and then some arrows on the inside, pink arrows, purple arrows. And then this is the big Kiki bag. Oh my gosh. Look at the little hat that he's wearing. Oh my gosh, so cute. And then on the inside we have some hands. Again, very retro. I love all the pink and orange in this set of bags. And then here is the rainbow at the top with the sheepies at the bottom. And we've got some shoes inside. But I love this one. And pink sheep. Again, the inside liner will be tacked down when I do the drawstrings. I really like how classy this one is. I want to keep this one too, to be honest, but only if it doesn't sell. And then my last one is this one, which is the opposite of that, and I like the interior of this one a lot too. The one thing I will say is that on my next batch of bags, I think I'm just gonna find some like duck fabric or something, just some plain cream fabric for the inside, just because personally I like the cream fabric. I think it makes it easier to find what you're looking for when you're looking through your bags, and it'll allow me to save some of this interior fabric. Like this would have made really nice contrasting fabric on one of these bags, but because I needed some lining fabric, I could not use that for the inside. But I think next time it'll probably be like this cream color right here is what I'll do on all the insides for the next batch. But like I said, the first two that I showed are a bit smaller, an inch down here and an inch up here, just because I cut the fabric wrong. And they were the very first ones I cut out. So rookie mistake, but I have not done bags in a long time. So yeah, so those are the bags that I will have. And like I said, if they sell, then I will make some more. And if not, I'll steal them for myself. So no worries. Either way, there's some beautiful bags there. So I'm going to work on getting those drawstrings done this week, and getting those into the shop soon. What else? I think just regular chit chat now. So the last couple weeks have been really good. I started kind of a walking routine, I think before I podcasted last time, but I've really stuck with it, where I've been walking for an hour on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And that's making sure that at least 4 days a week I'm being active. I've been better about meal prepping my lunches and breakfasts. So I already talked about my breakfast at the beginning of the episode. And for lunches, I just make a bunch of chicken at one time, grilled chicken. And then I use it in a salad, or I'll use it in a lettuce wrap, which has been so good. And that's what I've been eating for lunches. And for dinners, we've actually been trying to save some money and eat at home, be a little more frugal. And so I've just had kind of a variety of things the last couple of weeks for dinner. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been good. I've been reading a lot. I've finished quite a few audiobooks, quite a few regular books, and if you are interested in seeing what I'm reading, either follow me on Instagram or Goodreads. All of my information is below. And at the end of the month, I go through and I review all the books I've listened to and all the books I've read for the month. My goal is to read 1,000 pages a month, and I have been sticking to that. So by the end of the year, I will have 12,000 pages read, which is kind of cool, and about 3 to 4 books a month. So my goal is to have read 52 books this year. And I think I've finished 21. That does include audiobooks, and I do count audiobooks. And because I count audiobooks, I wasn't really thinking about it when I set up my goal to do 52 books this year, which is 1 book per week. So next year I will be upping my goal, because I already know that I'm going to more than pass my goal for this year, because I'm already at 21 books and we're only at the end of March. So, but yeah, I've been reading about 50 pages a day, 5 days a week. I read when I'm walking on the treadmill, or also when I'm walking on the treadmill, if it's not a day to read, like today and tomorrow, I had no reading to do because I finished my 250 pages for the week. So I have been watching podcasts, and I have done so much podcast watching over the past couple weeks. I talked about this 2 weeks ago, but this past 2 weeks, I caught up on the Knit Along podcast, which is Christy and Ashley from Nomadic Yarns, and I love their podcast. So I'm caught up with them. And then I also have been watching Laura from Crocheting Hoovian. She has about 64 episodes. She has been podcasting for over 4 years. I think over 5 years, if I am remembering correctly. And I have not really, up until this point, watched her podcast before. I think I started to watch her podcast from the beginning, and then I stopped watching podcasts altogether. Not because of her, because of just in general, it just wasn't good timing for me. And I got to know her through her virtual knit nights that she hosts every Friday. And I'm not on there very often, but I do try to pop in at least once a week, just to sit and knit and chat. And it is so much fun getting to talk and spend time with all the ladies on there. I met so many amazing women, and got to see so many awesome projects. And it really is a safe space to just talk about whatever's on your mind. Like, for example, I've had a lot going on at work that has been really stressing me out, and they just asked me about it, and I just got to sit and vent for like half an hour, and it was amazing. And yeah, I just really love all the women in that chat. But I got to know Laura through that, and I went back and I watched 27. I'm on episode 27 of her original podcast, and I just have to say, like, it's so funny because I've been podcasting for almost 2 years, and I never realized that some of the stuff that I've talked about over these past 2 years, she was talking about 4 years ago. And it's so cool. It's so cool to realize that you have so much in common with somebody. And I knew that we did, because we get along so great on BKN, but I didn't know how much we had in common until I started watching her podcast. So I love seeing all the stuff she knits and crochets, and I didn't know that she was a crochet designer before she started knitting. Like, I didn't know that. And so I'm just learning a lot about her, and she has a lot of the same struggles I do, and we've really connected on that, and we've kind of formed our own little support group, and it's just been fantastic. And she makes me laugh. She has a great sense of humor. And honestly, so when I first met her, she's from Brooklyn, New York, and to me, she has this kind of like aggressive accent, right? Because Boston, New York, New Jersey accents the stereotypical accents are what we see as being aggressive. I did not realize until I got to know her and started watching her podcast how amazing and strong and caring this woman is. She just, I mean, she is just, I mean, I get a lot of comments and messages telling me, you know, like, oh, you do so much for the knitting community and you're so kind and so strong and all this stuff. If you think I'm that way, then you should see this woman, because she is 10 times the woman that I am. She has done so much for the knitting community. She has done so much for her own community. Right now I'm watching the episodes where she crocheted a ton of toys for the local children's hospital. And yeah, if you have not checked her out, please go check out her podcast. You don't have to go all the way to the beginning like I did, but just go give her podcast a chance, because I really think that she deserves, for as much as she's been involved in our knitting community, she deserves a larger following than what she has. And I want to do my part to get that out there. I have a small following, so I know that there's not many followers that I have. But if there's even one of you that hasn't heard of her or hasn't checked out her podcast yet, please go take a look, because it's worth it. Yeah. So, and come join us on the VKNs, the virtual knit nights. If you want more information, you can contact me directly, or just follow my Instagram and Laura's Instagram, because we have all that information on there. And speaking of Laura, she's designing a new pattern with some of my yarn, and I should have brought that up. I'm developing some new mini kits for Kentucky, but I posted some spoiler videos of the first colorway in the kit this week, and I got a lot of interest, so I'm gonna try to post them on Instagram as a dye to order. But when I say dye to order, like, I'm literally dyeing them up this week. So I'm going to try to post them on Etsy once I get all the colors made. And if you guys are interested, I will dye more. But yeah, so stay tuned for that, because I'm really excited. They're going to be a gradient, and I'm also going to do full skein gradient kit, which, that'll be 10 colorways total, and they all gradiate with each other. And in the mini kit, I will have a full mini kit with all 10, or I will have 2 separate mini kits where they're split 5 and 5. And then I will have like 5 skein sweater kits, but you don't have to make a sweater. You can make any project that takes 5 skeins. I will have 2, the first 5 colorways and the second 5 colorways. So if you want all 10, you would buy 2. If you just want one or the other, you would buy one or the other. But yeah, I'm really excited about them because they are turning out so amazing. So I plan on focusing my time on that this week. I've got I'm going to be doing some Mansfield Park this week for Kentucky Fiber Festival, and also my friend, also, if you have not checked out her podcast, Angela, she is, she was I think she's Felici Fibers. I think she changed, she was Felici Knitting. I think she's Felici Fibers now on Instagram and YouTube. She's sample knitting for me. She's making a birds of a feather shawl out of Mansfield Park and Emma, and oh my god, guys, it is so pretty. I'm so excited about it. And as soon as I saw the sneak peek of what she's worked on, I was like, I need these kits at Kentucky. So I know for sure that I'm dyeing those kits up to take with me, which means I'm going to focus on those this week. I have a few new tonals that I dyed up this past week that I will be working on. What else? There's something else. Oh, and Laura, full circle, she just had her potiversary, and I dyed up a special colorway for her that is just fabulous. And she has asked me to dye up a few more skeins of that for her. And I'm also going to be dyeing, I have a few that I saved for myself, but I'm going to be dyeing up some to put in the shop too. So stay tuned for all of that. I think that's it. I think that's all the nitty. I said it was going to be a short podcast, and it ended up being over an hour. This is what happens. Anyway, I'm going to go edit, work on my Desert Vista Dye Work socks before Jess has a heart attack. And when I talk about Jessica, she is also, I'm name dropping all kinds of podcasters, but honestly, these are not just podcasters to me. They're my friends. They're my community. They're who I talk to all the time. So it may seem like I'm just name dropping to you, like the who's who of podcasting, but that's not what I'm doing at all. I am just talking about my friends. So Jessica is 2/6 and String on YouTube, and then she's Army Wife Knitting Life on Instagram. She has a podcast as well that you should check out. And guess what, guys? Knit for Brains, Laura and Alicia from Knit for Brains they're going to Greencastle, Indiana. Molly Klein Design is going to be vending there, and I am going to go meet up with them on Saturday, April 20th, I believe. So if you are in the area of Greencastle, Indiana, or you're looking to take a road trip, Google Greencastle Fiberfest and meet up with us, because it was so much fun last year and I don't get to see them near enough. And Alicia just had a baby and it's so cute, and I get to meet the baby. So I definitely plan on making that 2.5 hour drive to go hang out with them for the day. So that is coming up in April. And then in May, Maryland Sheep and Wool is the first week of May. I will be there with Levi. And Dragon Hoard Yarn will not be at Maryland Sheep and Wool, but Tristan, she's going to be vending at the local shop there. So I think we have plans to hang out with her and Laura, and the whole VKN group. And then also my local knitting group is going to Maryland Sheep and Wool, so I plan to spend some time with them there as well. And then the last week of May is Kentucky Sheep and Fiber, where I will be vending. So if you are in the area, please come say hi to me. I would love to meet you guys in person. And I think that's it. All right, well, you guys have a great couple weeks, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.